This video is brought to you by the Talent Transformation Guild, helping you stay relevant for the future of work, learning, and leadership.
I'm thinking from all the parties involved in these civility movements, is there some way that we can inoculate ourselves? So if we experience this kind of bullying, how could we kind of be thinking about things so it doesn't have these triggering effects? And if we, are there recommended practices for addressing the bully if it's appropriate? You might feel so fearful and threatened that you can't do that.
Right.
But if you do have that opening, what would be the suggested ways to open up that conversation?
So the number one way to thwart a bully or to respond to some sort of misbehavior. Okay, so maybe it's not even a bully in the sense of repeated behaviors over time, but it could be a few instances where somebody isn't treating you properly. The best way to deal with it is in the moment, if you can.
Mm-hmm.
And just to simply say, I'm feeling really under attack here. I'm sure that's not your intention, but, can we start this conversation over?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you can somehow stop it, or even to say, look, I don't appreciate, if it's a yelling thing, I don't appreciate being yelled at. Can we have this conversation when you're calmer, right? So those are kind of, now when it gets into things like literally forged performance evaluations or made up performance evaluations, that's a little bit different. And when it's more subtle, which is typically the way more bullying happens these days, which is behind closed doors. In those situations where you have no witnesses, the best thing you can do is to record those. I don't mean necessarily do an audio recording, although that would be great if you can.
Mm-hmm.
But after the incident, go back and do date, time, exactly what was said, and keep a log of that, and then either deal with it. If you can deal with it with the person and say, we really need to talk. This is what's happened over the past few weeks. It's very uncomfortable. I don't want it affecting our work relationship. This is not acceptable, for me to do my best job working with you. Let's resolve it. I mean, those are sort of the easy approaches.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And in some cases may not be so easy, but those would be the more gentle ones. When you have a situation where somebody has really long-term been a problem and the organization finally understands that something has to be done with this person, they've kept the person on because of certain positive contributions they make. Like a simple one is a big producer.
Mm-hmm.
Big salesperson, but this person just gets their way and can push people around because supposedly they bring in so much business. There is something called a respectful conduct clinic where the employer brings in somebody from the outside and spends a couple of days with the person. Nobody's going to change their personality.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can do is teach the person what the impact is of their behavior, and that if it continues, they're not likely to continue being employed. And so teach them that they need to modify their behavior under the circumstances.
And as you might recall, we developed the talent transformation pyramid, and all of those learning experiences of social behavior, social intelligence, emotional intelligence, understanding yourself, understanding others, very typically the things that people need to learn so that they can witness when they are misbehaving, when maybe they didn't realize before, and then they witness that and they can modify their behavior. As you said near the beginning, some people don't even get it. They feel that they're defending the organization and the organization's lucky to have them, so this is the way they get things done. But ultimately it is things such as 21st century skills, employing empathy and basic respect.
Yeah, I think the requirement for emotional, social skills, communication skills is only going to increase.
We completely agree. we see that so many of the tasks that were performed throughout history were repetitive tasks where there was less human interaction. Now that we have automation completing those repetitive tasks, whether they're physical or cognitive, now there's a greater requirement for people to work together as teams with people specializing. So you have these specialists working in teams. Well, now you have to communicate, and having a kind of solid foundation of respect is essential to be able to communicate.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our newsletter and keep up to date with the new world of work, learning, and leadership.